to Cafe Janae. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for all your comments before class. Can you see? You can go ahead and move if that's going to be in your way, if the pole's in your way. So I'd like to thank all of our volunteers for helping out. Thank you so much for helping and making this class possible, and thank you to Orson Gigi for supplying this beautiful room. Make sure you tell the employees thank you, and that you like the class if you did. As you're walking out, that totally helps. So today we're going to do beverages. Beverages are the bane of most dieters, and it's because of, usually it's because of soda, but there's a lot of other factors involved. The three most consumed beverages are soda, coffee, and alcohol. And interestingly enough, the purpose of drinking beverages is to keep yourself hydrated, and all three of those beverages are very dehydrating to the body. So not only are those beverages filled with lots of unhealthy fats, lots of unhealthy sugars, lots of chemicals, but they also take all the good water out of your body and dehydrate you. So today in our beverages class, we're going to learn what kind of water to drink, where's the best place to get your water, what kind of water to avoid, how to stay hydrated, and then we're also going to learn lots of interesting new ways to get healthy whole foods and healthy minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants into your beverages so that when you want something to drink, whether it's just something water to rehydrate or whether it's something fancy at a party, that you have something that's healthy that you can incorporate into your diet and into your life. You ready? Hey, come on, let's need everybody to be energetic today. Years back, I don't know, maybe a decade ago, there's a big promotion of bottled water. It's the healthy way to go. It's healthier than soda, which switching from soda to bottled water was an improvement. However, environmental groups and health activists alike are telling us that bottled water is not healthy and it's not good for the environment. We need to find some other alternatives. 40% of bottled water is actually just tap water that's been put into bottles. It's got the same contaminants, it's got the same problems as tap water, and in addition, once you put any kind of water into a bottle, because the plastic of the water bottles had softeners put into the plastic, all that plastic and all those toxins from the plastic leach out into your bottled water, so it's actually worse for you than tap water if you're drinking that kind of water out of a bottle. In addition, 67 million plastic bottles are thrown away every day from water bottles, which is creating a humongous environmental problem. Also, all of the fuel, the fuel that it takes to transport all the bottled water all over the world, that's also creating an environmental problem. So it's not good for your health, not good for the environment. You're really not getting that much better of a product than just turning on the tap. So what do we do instead? There's lots of different options for water. There's just regular filtered water. You can buy a carbon filter for your house. You just hook it up to your sink, and what that does is it takes the tap water, puts it through the carbon filter, and that takes out chlorine and large particles, some bacteria, and it cleans it up pretty good for you. Basically, it's a taste and odor filter if you just have the carbon filter. You can also hook up a reverse osmosis filter to your home water system. And what that does is it puts it through the carbon filter, and then it pushes it through a very small membrane. It gets rid of lots of the fluoride that's in the, probably 40 to 60% of the fluoride that's in the water, gets rid of some of the chemicals and drugs that are in our water. Did you know that all the prescription drugs, not only the extra prescription and over-the-counter drugs that people throw away in the trash, like all that soaks down into the water system, or if they flush it down the toilet, that gets into the water system. But when people go to the bathroom, they pee and poop out the pharmaceuticals and the over-the-counter drugs, and that gets into our water system. So we have massive amounts of drug pollutants in the water system that it's really, really hard to get out of. This is causing things like premature puberty for kids. It's causing depression problems. It's causing brain-related disorders. A lot of the birth control pills and the birth control that women are on, that gets into the water system as well, and that's causing puberty, early puberty, and other hormonal problems with kids and adults alike. So the reverse osmosis water, it gets a lot of that out. And it also gets out lots of viruses and the tiniest particles that most other filters don't get out. The problem with reverse osmosis water is it wastes a lot of water to produce it, and it's pretty expensive. So there's also distilled water. Now, up until a year or so ago, distilled water was touted to be a super healthy option, something that would help to get all the toxins out of your body, and that you should drink distilled water because it's the purest form of water. The latest research is showing us that distilled water, what happens is there's lots of chemicals in water that don't boil off when the water is being distilled, so they actually get condensed. So it makes those chemicals more concentrated in distilled water than it is in regular water. So if you have a gallon of regular water and you distill it down to a half a gallon, you're getting actually double the amount of contaminants in that half a gallon of water. Does that make sense? So the other thing is distilled water is highly acidic just because of the process. So what it does is it's great for if you're doing a cleanse, like if you're doing a detoxifying cleanse. Distilled water is great for 1 or 2 weeks at a time just to cleanse out, or like for instance, if you have kidney stones, distilled water is awesome for, you just drink it for a couple weeks and it dissolves the kidney stones and gets them out of your body. But if you do it long term, what it does is it takes a lot of other minerals out of your body as well, because when you distill the water, it takes everything out of it, and then the water just wants to suck onto and grab onto everything and bring it back into the water to bring the water back into balance. That includes the plastic container that it's in, so it's much better at leaching plastics out of the container than regular water. So distilled water is a good choice for short-term use, for 1 or 2 weeks for therapeutic detoxification or dissolving kidney stones, or whatever your medical problem is. But for long-term use, professionals advise against it. Also, alkaline water is a big hype lately, which also is a great thing for short-term therapeutic use. But they're finding that people that drink alkaline water on long-term basis, what it does is it neutralizes your gastric juices, makes it so you can't digest things as well, and it actually leads to stomach problems if you're doing that long-term. Short-term, it's great for detoxifying and alkalizing your body, but it needs to be done just on a short-term, temporary basis. Let's see. Some of the problems with just tap water or bottled water, it's got fluoride in it, which is a toxin that causes lots of mental disorders. It contributes to Alzheimer's, and they're finding that they're putting the fluoride in the water to prevent tooth decay with kids, but they're actually finding that it's doing exactly the opposite. It's causing various tooth disorders in the kids. So right at this point, the FDA is in the process of lowering the amount of fluoride that's they're lowering the upper limit of fluoride that's allowable in the public water supply. So they're finding out that fluoride wasn't everything that they were hoping it would be in the water. There's also arsenic, aluminum, heavy metals, and disinfection byproducts. So what those are is when they put the chlorine in the water and then the chlorine evaporates, there's the disinfection byproducts that are left behind. It's everything else is left behind, and those are actually worse for you than the chlorine. So we're dealing with all this stuff in our water. So even if you switch from unhealthy beverages to water, you've got to be careful where you're getting your water and what you're drinking, making sure you're not getting lots of drugs and pollutants and chemicals into your body, which is the opposite of what you want to be doing. So what do I recommend for water? First of all, there's all the things you shouldn't be doing. What do I recommend? Getting a filter in your home is the least expensive and the healthiest for you for several reasons. Obviously, the least expensive because you don't have to be buying containers and plastic and polluting the environment. And also you can take it straight out of your tap and put it in glass containers so that it's not getting the plastic toxins in there. Also, if anything that's been in the store, if it's usually been on the shelf for a while, which the plastic is breaking down and leaching into your water, but the water's been shipped as well, and usually it's been shipped in some kind of hot or cold container. Freezing in plastic or heating things up in plastic causes the plastic toxins to leach out even faster. So if you've got a plastic water bottle, don't throw it in the freezer with water in it, because when you take it out, it's going to be full of that just accentuates the toxicity of the water leaching the toxins out of the plastic. So home water filters are the best, or at the stores like your health food stores, or most grocery stores have them now. They have the reverse osmosis machines. And what you want to do is make sure that it's fresh, you're not storing it for a long time. Get a hard plastic or a glass container to put your water in and store it that way. And that's what I recommend for water. Now people ask, how much water should you be drinking per day? And experts recommend all sorts of things. The best advice that I've gotten from the experts and what I recommend is you need to drink enough water so that your urine is a very, very light yellow, like almost clear. And now if it's a hot day and you're outside exercising, you're gonna have to drink way more water than if it's a cold day and you're sitting inside. So the whole 8 glasses of water per day, it doesn't necessarily apply to everyone all the time. People that weigh more need to drink more water than people that weigh less. Obviously, if you're outside and sweating a lot, you need more. If you're detoxifying, you're gonna need more water. So I like the rule of thumb, just keep drinking enough until your urine is almost clear, and then you know you're getting enough water. There's lots of ways that our body tells us that we're thirsty, but most people are so addicted to the standard American diet, and they don't realize what it feels like to be thirsty. Most people confuse thirst with hunger, and then when they get the thirsty feeling, they think, oh, I'm hungry for sugar, or I'm hungry for salt, and they eat salty or sugary snacks. And basically what that does is it just makes you more thirsty, so your body needs more water. So it's really important to pay attention. Remember the intuitive eating, pay attention to your body. Start drinking more water, and I'll teach you how to do that. And then pay attention to when your body's hungry and when your body's thirsty and what that feels like. And as you start paying attention, you're going to realize that most of the time you're actually thirsty, not hungry, especially when you're craving things that are salty or sugary. That's your body's way of telling you, hey, I need more water, and I'm craving something that's gonna make it necessary for you to drink more water if you don't drink water when you're feeling that. So a good practice for water consumption is first thing in the morning, that's when you need your water the most. I recommend having either a pint or a quart of water every single morning, right when you get up before you do anything else. And what that does is it cleans out your digestive tract, gets your digestive juices going, and it helps to just kind of cleanse out all the, your body detoxifies at night while you sleep. So it helps to cleanse out all those toxins that are built up over the night, and it primes your digestive system for being able to digest things better throughout the day. Now, if you add a little bit of lemon to your water, that helps to alkalize your body. And we all need help alkalizing our body because of the food we eat and all the toxins that are around us every day. And also, if you add a pinch of sea salts to your water, that helps to balance out the electrolyte balance, and it helps your body to absorb the water better. So if you just drink plain water, the water's probably just going to go straight through you. If you add a pinch of salt and some lemon, your cells can absorb that water and use it even better, and it alkalizes the water so that your body can use it better. All right, any questions about water? Probably more than you wanted to know, right? Yeah, so what I do is I just get a quart of water, and in the morning I usually make it a little bit warm, like not hot, but warm, and I just squeeze a fresh lemon in there, put a pinch of salt in, and I just guzzle the whole thing, like within the first half hour of waking up. And your body, it's amazing. Before I started doing that, like in the morning, I just feel kind of sluggish and gross, and I didn't know that it was thirst. Once I started doing that, it totally peps you up in the morning. You start feeling better. Your skin looks better. You don't get those bags under your eyes, from, the sleep bags from being dehydrated at night. It works really well. So that's basically what I do. Plus, it makes it taste kind of nice. All right, let's get on to the fancy beverages. Now, I don't know how many of you are here for my first or second class, but I showed you how to make almond milk. I'm going to show you how to make different kinds of nut milk, because each kind of nut and seed has different nutrient qualities to it, different flavors, and different textures. And so I find that if I just make almond milk all the time, it's delicious. I love it, but there's so much variety that you can choose from. And so there's such a spectrum of nutrition if you use different nuts and seeds. So you can use anything to make nut and seed milk: sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, pecans, Brazil nuts, anything. So hemp milk or hemp seeds, you can use that as well. So I'm going to make some milk with walnuts today. These are very high in omega-3 fatty acids. They're great for calming the nervous system. They're great for their antioxidant properties. And again, they're healthy fat content. And you're going to love how easy this is. 1 cup of nuts or seeds, whatever kind you want. Soak them overnight and then just rinse and drain them. Especially when you're making nut milks, you want to make sure everything is soaked and rinsed, because you want to dissolve all the enzyme inhibitors are on the outside of the nuts, so that it's going to be really digestible. And then fill up the blender with water, purified water, and blend. All right, here we go. All right, now you want to blend it, as you're watching in the Vitamix, you want to blend it until all the particulate is just very small and you can't see any particles floating around anymore. And then you know it's done. If you don't have a Vitamix, if you just have a regular blender, you'll probably have to leave it on a lot longer, so like 5 or more minutes. The Vitamix does it really fast. Now this is just a nut milk bag. Looks like a little pillowcase. You can buy these online, or I just made it. You get the unbleached muslin from the fabric store and you just sew it into a little square like a pillowcase. And what that does is it's just going to filter out all the particles, all the pulp from the nuts. And you can save the pulp to make cookies and granola bars and cereal and all sorts of stuff. So don't throw the pulp away. It's highly nutritious and makes yummy stuff. Like we make chocolate mint cookies out of it. And when we run out of chocolate mint cookies, then we know we need to start making more nut milk so we can get more cookies. So all you do is just turn it and it just squeezes the milk out of there. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's beautiful. It's just white and creamy. And I love this stuff. Now, nut milk, you need to usually lasts for 3 or 4 days in the fridge. You got to drink it pretty quick though, because anytime you chop nuts or process nuts, the oils in them are very delicate, because you've got a lot of your omega-3 and your omega-6 oils in the nuts. So as soon as you process them, they're very delicate. So you got to keep it refrigerated, consume it within a few days, and then you'll be good. If it starts to smell funky, it's probably because the oils are going a little bit rancid and oxidizing, so just throw it out. Usually nut milk doesn't last long enough in our house though to go bad. So that's it. And then on the inside, just keep squeezing it until the nut pulp on the inside is completely dry. And then what I do is I just take the nut pulp and I put it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer, a double Ziploc bag. And then every time I make nut milk, I just keep adding to the bag and keep it frozen, because if you don't freeze it again, it'll go bad really quickly. And then as soon as the Ziploc bag, like the gallon Ziploc bag in the freezer is full of nut pulp, then I can make cereal or cookies or something like that out of it. And in the breakfast book, the healthy breakfast book and the healthy snack books, there's recipes for how to use your nut pulp with cookies and cereal and stuff. So that's pretty easy, right? And then what we're gonna do is pour it back in the blender. Now this tastes pretty good by itself, but it's just bland, and at Cafe Janae, we don't like bland. Everything has to be wild with flavor and so delicious it makes you want to dance and sing. So leave it like this if you like, and it's going to be perfectly fine. But if you want it to be a little more exciting, what we're going to do is we're going to put in some coconut oil. Now remember, coconut oil is medium chain triglyceride, so your body uses it as a carbohydrate. It's great brain food. It also, it's good for your skin. It helps you so your body doesn't need as much vitamin E, so it's a great antioxidant. So I just put coconut oil in every raw thing I make because it's just really good for you in so many ways. Plus it makes it taste, it adds kind of a creaminess to the milk that I think you'll really like. That was vanilla, because you have to put vanilla in everything as well. This is a little bit of raw local honey. You don't have to sweeten it, but if you want to, I find that just putting a little touch of honey in there helps. You can also put in just a pinch of stevia or a little drop of agave nectar, or a little bit of maple syrup, whatever works for you. This is lecithin. Make sure it's, when you get lecithin, that it's organic. Lecithin is a soy product, and any soy product that's not organic is genetically modified. And also soy lecithin, what happens is when they press the oil out of the soybeans, the lecithin is what's left over. And it has, if it's not organic, all the pesticide residues are in the lecithin, very concentrated. So you want to make sure it's organic so that you're not getting all those pesticide residues concentrated in there. And what that does is it emulsifies it, because we've got the oil from the nuts and we've got the coconut oil and then you've got water, and it's just going to separate if you don't have an emulsifier in there to bind the fats and the waters together. So that's all it does. If you don't have lecithin, leave it out, no big deal. A little bit of salt. And that's it. Just have to blend this just on low, just to get everything mixed up. Now it's beautiful. I'm a big cheese fan. Milk was really hard for me to stay away from. And when I started making nut milk, like, I never wanted real milk again. First of all, it tastes great. Second of all, it's fabulously delicious. And when you drink it, you feel awesome. It doesn't cause all that mucus coating in your throat, and it doesn't cause you just to feel kind of like gross and lethargic. It doesn't make you put on weight. So as soon as I started doing nut milk, like, I never wanted to go back again. It's fantastic. I think you guys are gonna love it too. And then, of course, taste. It's yummy. You guys are going to love it. So I'm going to pass this to Brian and Raquel. They'll give you some samples, and you guys can ooh and ah and tell me how much you like it, okay? Any questions about the nut milk? Now, something else about nut milk that I really love, you don't have to just drink it white. You can also have chocolate milk. So if you're going to do a chocolate milk, all you do is put in like a couple tablespoons of raw cocoa powder and then just a little bit of extra sweetener to make up for the bitterness of the cocoa powder. Blend that up, you've got chocolate milk. If you heat it up, then you've got hot chocolate. Add a little more vanilla to it and you've got fabulous hot chocolate. If you add a little bit of fruit to it, like strawberries, you can have strawberry milk. So pretty much any of the Nestle's canned milks, you can make it with this. Strawberry milk, chocolate mints. Like if you make the hot cocoa and put a couple drops of mint extract in it, it's really yummy. Hot chocolate, or chocolate mint beverage, or put a couple drops of hazelnut flavoring in there, really yummy, like hazelnut. You can also put almond flavoring in there, flavor it up however you like. So there's tons of variations to that really easy nut milk, and you can see it only took like, what, 5 minutes to make it, and so it's really simple. And that was kind of a small batch. If you have, if you go through it really quickly, it's just as easy to make a bigger batch. It takes just the same amount of time, and then you don't have to keep making it over and over again if you're going through it fast enough. All right.
What was the amount of nuts you used in that?
For that, I just used 1 cup of nuts and then fill it up. But it's, when you're making nut milk and using raw food, like, you can be so flexible. Like if you don't, if there's not enough nuts, put in more. And you can kind of tell by how watery it is. Like you can make everything from whole milk texture, like with the 1 cup of nuts to the blender of water, makes kind of a creamy whole milk texture. You can put twice that much water in to get kind of a skim milk type of an idea, but I don't know why you would do that. Seems like craziness to me. If you want to, you can though. All right, so you can use that for everything. I use it to put in my cereal. I make it for, smoothies, anything you need milk for, use that. You can even make like a kefir or yogurt or fermented type of beverages out of it. It's the same way I taught you how to make the coconut yogurt. You just put the probiotics in there and it works the same way. So you can even make cultured beverages. What do you think? Yay? All right. Oh, clap louder than that. It was delicious. Okay, next is I want to talk about herbal teas. Now, I think these are so underused and they're so valuable for therapeutic purposes, for hydration purposes, and for nutritional purposes. Herbal teas are basically just any herb that you put hot water in and you steep it like a tea. They're caffeine free, and the cool thing about herbal teas is they are very, very high in antioxidants, nutrition, minerals. They're often used for medicines all over the world, and if you use them for hydration, then it actually helps you with your electrolyte balance because they've got all the minerals in them, and it helps you to boost your nutrition. It helps you to stay healthy. Helps you to improve the probiotics in your flora, or your gut flora. It helps to improve that because herbs are prebiotics, which we talked about before, are the things that feed the probiotics. So herbs do that. Now for me, it's hard just to drink just plain water all day. That's really difficult for me. And I require a lot of water. I have to drink, especially in the summertime, a gallon of water a day. During the winter when it's not so hot, I have to drink like 3/4 of a gallon of water a day. And that's hard to do when it's just plain water. And also, since it's kind of cold most of the year here, I have a hard time drinking cold water. And I found that when I was getting really dehydrated, the reason I was dehydrated is because I knew if I drank cold water, then I would get cold and I'd be shivering, and I hate that. So I started drinking herbal teas instead of water, and I found that that helped because it was something warm to drink. It was flavorful, and also I'm getting my master herbalist degree as well. And when I started reading up on all the benefits of having herbs in your diet on a regular basis, it was just kind of a no-brainer. Just like, wow, why wouldn't I do that? So today we've got chai rooibos tea. Now rooibos is a caffeine-free tea, and it comes from Africa. It's also called red bush, and it's one of the highest herbs for antioxidants. It also has a really nice flavor. It's like naturally sweet, so you don't have to put a lot of sweetener in the tea. And when you have a chai tea, it's also mixed with herbs such as cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, clove, and stevia, which we talked about last time in the Indian class, how those are very healthy for you. Anti-cancer properties, anti-diabetic properties, and lots of other health properties. Excuse me. So what I do is every morning I've got this cool little teapot, and it's insulated, so you can make tea in the morning, and it's like a half a gallon of tea, and then you just have it all day, and you don't have to keep making tea over and over and over again. And I have a gigantic tea mug that I didn't bring. You'd laugh if you saw it. It's probably almost this big. And that's my beverage of choice. So I drink one of these in the morning, either with tea or the lemon water in it. And then I just have it all day. And this makes it really convenient to have a hot beverage all during the day that's really healthy for you. So what I do is I just put in this, I put like four to 6 tea bags in here, fill it up with boiling water. I also threw a couple cinnamon sticks in here and a couple of those little anise stars that we used for the Indian class last time. And what that does is the anise is very sweet, so it adds a sweetness, so you don't have to add extra sweetener if you put the anise in. The cinnamon is really good for its anti-diabetic properties and its antioxidant properties. So in this, you've got your electrolytes being balanced because of all the minerals. You've got anti-cancer, antiviral, antibacterial properties in your tea, and and plus it tastes great. So my daughter loves chai tea. That's her favorite, so we drink it all the time. Now, when you drink this, you can either just drink it straight, which is what I do, but my daughter really likes to fancy it up, and so traditionally chai tea has a little bit of milk and honey in it. So we have raw local honey and some of our nut milk that we just made. And all we're going to do, I'm just going to pour a little glass, and then they can mix it up for you guys later. So here's what we do, and here's how easy it is. It's just a matter of boiling a thing of water, making tea. We'll put a little bit of honey in there and a little bit of milk, and it's such a tasty beverage. Now for the women in here, well, guys, it works for guys too, but raspberry leaf tea it's just, you know, the leaves of raspberries, and that is, it's the most amazing herb for women's health. You can use it from everything from PMS to cramping. It's amazing for a pre-pregnancy herb and also during your pregnancy. It helps to balance your hormones. It helps to make pregnancy easier. It helps to reduce morning sickness, and it also helps to make your delivery a lot easier. And women that drink raspberry tea, like at least 3 cups per day, their hormones are more balanced, their pregnancies are easier, their PMS is decreased, and it's very high in magnesium and minerals and calcium. It's one of the top herbs used for colds and flus. It actually helps to improve your immune system and to kill off colds and flus. So I recommend raspberry leaf tea to everybody to drink on a daily basis. I've been told that it tastes a little bit like black tea. Once you brew it, it's kind of like a weak black tea. So if you like black tea, great, that's a great alternative. But you can also put other stuff into your raspberry leaf tea, like I throw in cinnamon sticks and anise stars and maybe a couple chai tea bags, and then that kind of flavors it up so it actually tastes good. It's great for giving to little girls that are in their tween age, getting them ready for their menstruation. It's the perfect way to get their hormones balanced, and it helps them actually go through puberty a lot easier because they don't have the big hormone swings as much, because the raspberry leaf tea is helping to balance out their hormones. So those are the 2 I recommend, is the rooibos and the raspberry leaf tea. Just put a little bit of milk in there, and it's delicious, I promise. It's good. You're going to like this. So they're going to bring this around. You guys can tell me what you think. Any questions about teas? Should we talk more about herbs, or is that interesting to you? Yes, talk more about herbs? Okay. Here's one cool thing I learned. There you go. While I was taking my master herbalist training, when you are sick with a cold or the flu, one of the best things you can do is drink diaphoretic teas. A diaphoretic tea is something that makes you sweat. When you sweat, you're getting all the toxins out through your pores. That's one of the best ways to detoxify, which is what you need to do when you're sick. Some of the diaphoretic teas are mint, catnip, yarrow, raspberry leaf tea. Those are the top ones I use. And what you do is you try to make yourself sweat as much as possible. So when I'm sick, I go sit in the bath. I sit in a bath that's as hot as I can possibly get it. You put Epsom salts in the bath and a little bit of baking soda, and what that does is it draws the toxins out of you. And then you drink as much diaphoretic tea as you possibly can. And what that does is the heat from the bath, the Epsom salts in the tub pull the water out of you. The diaphoretic tea makes you sweat, so that it's like you're sweating from the inside and from the outside. And what that does is it just helps to detoxify you really quickly. The heat makes it so the bacteria that are making you sick, they reproduce at a faster rate, and they kind of like poop themselves out. They just, they reproduce so fast that they're just done. So instead of reproducing slowly and it taking a long time, it speeds up their metabolism so that it just gets it over a lot faster. Now with diaphoretic teas, be careful, because if you drink them hot, it will make you sweat. If you drink them cold, it'll make you pee. So just be careful not to drink them cold right before you go to bed. I've done that before, and it doesn't turn out well. So those are my 2 big tips right there for teas, is raspberry leaf tea for everybody, especially for females. And then if you're sick, first thing you need to do is a diaphoretic tea and get yourself nice and hot and sweating. Any questions? Just want to move on to the next beverage. Did you guys taste that yet, the tea? No. Oh, all right, they're coming. All right, who works out? Yay, everybody at some point, or who has worked out at least once in their life? Okay. There we go, now everybody can raise their hands. Sports beverages are one of the things that are touted as being so healthy and so good for you, and you need to drink these sports beverages if you're a runner or if you're exercising. But all they're made out of is corn syrup, sugar, a little bit of electrolytes, which is salt and potassium, that's it. And so you're getting a lot of sugar, a lot of high fructose corn syrup, food coloring, artificial flavoring, and a little bit of electrolytes, which is very bad for your body, especially if you're working out really hard, your body is becoming really acidic, and you're creating a lot of byproducts, like metabolism byproducts in your body. And what you need to do is hydrate yourself, balance your electrolytes, and get the toxins out, not put more toxins into your body. So it's really easy to make a sports drink that's similar to Gatorade without all the garbage in it. It still tastes great, and you're gonna love how easy this is, okay? I just use an empty jar with the lid so you can shake. You're gonna use half water and then half of whatever kind of juice you like. So the sugar is actually really important that they put in Gatorade, but you don't have to use sugar and corn syrup as your source of sugar, okay? Your cells do need sugar to function properly and for proper hydration, but you don't have to have table sugar and high fructose corn syrup. I use the sugar in the juice, and if you want to add a little bit more sweetener or sugar, you can put a little bit of honey in there, and it works just as well, and it's way better for you. Now, when I buy juices, make sure you buy it organic so you're not getting all the pesticide residues. And I buy it in glass because when you buy it in plastic, obviously, it's been pasteurized, and that means it's been heated in the bottle, and anytime you're heating up plastic, you're getting a lot of plastic toxins. So all we're doing is half water, half juice of your choice. Now make sure you've got to read the labels of your juice really carefully. Most juices are juice combinations, and they include lots of sugar and high fructose corn sweetener and flavors and additives. So you just read the labels and make sure that it's 100% juice and there's no garbage in there. And then what we're going to do is just squeeze a little bit of lemon in there. And what that does is it alkalizes your body, and it also provides some really important minerals, and it also helps with the flavor. Actually, I'm just gonna. Okay, so just a little bit of lemon. And then that'll give you a small amount of minerals there. And then for your electrolytes, all you need is just a little bit of sea salt. So just if you're making a cup, just put a pinch of sea salt in. For a quart like this, less than a quarter teaspoon, so like 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt in there. And that puts the electrolytes in there. And also, if you want to put a little, you don't have to, it's good just with the sea salt in there, but if you want to put a little bit of potassium in there too, they have salt substitutes that's just potassium, and I just put like a little tiny pinch of the potassium in there as well. And what that does is it just gives you a nice balance of minerals in there, just like it's the exact same as Gatorade. It's the exact same percentage of electrolytes as Gatorade or any of the sports drinks you have. Shake it up and you're ready to go. That was really easy, right? No sugar, no high fructose corn syrup, no chemicals, no additives, no flavors. It's just 100% fruit juice, water, lemon, and a little pinch of sea salt and potassium. Any questions? All right. You guys don't have any questions today.
Janae, your tea is amazing.
You like it? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Clapping works if you don't have any questions. I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. Uh-huh.
I guess it doesn't matter if it's nectar or juice.
No.
It's the same thing.
It just read the label. And anytime you can get, I was going to talk about this later, but I'll do it now. Anytime you can get unfiltered juice, so if it's filtered, it's nice and crystal clear and, you know, there's no particles in it. That's filtered. You're taking out some of the nutrients. You're taking out some of the fiber. It's been more processed. So anytime you can get unfiltered juice or nectar or stuff that's not clear, that's going to be better for you. I just got this kind because it was on sale. That's.
Jimmy, I do have a question. Like you go in the store and it says 100% juice.
Yes.
But I read the label. It doesn't say anything in there. How do you know that they're not? Like in the frozen, you know.
Like orange juice?
Yeah, or like apple juice or like raspberry apple, and it says 100% juice.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that in the class before you said that those were not good for you. How do you know if it doesn't really say?
Well,
what is it? What are you looking for? How do I know?
So like, for instance, here, I'll pull out a thing of juice real quick. So this one on the ingredients, it says filtered water, mango puree, apple peach juice concentrate, peach puree, ascorbic acid, which is just it's a vitamin C preservative, so that one's okay. and then beta carotene for color, which is like the juice, the orange color from carrots probably. So you just read the ingredients, and all of that stuff is on the legal list. It's not anything that we shouldn't be eating. So like a lot of the juices will say something like natural flavors or natural coloring, or anytime it has something ambiguous like that, it just means they don't want to tell you what it really is. So they'll be really specific. If it's, you know, if it's beta carotene from carrots to make it a little bit orange, they'll say so on the label. If they just say natural coloring or natural flavoring, it's probably ambiguous for a reason. I think the one you were talking about, I was talking about orange juice, and it's just the way frozen orange juice is processed. It's boiled down and evaporated, and it's just been highly processed. So I think what I was talking about is just fresh orange juice is a million times healthier than frozen orange juice.
I don't do the same with all the frozen juices. You
Yeah.
just watch for natural.
So just read the label really carefully, and sometimes when they say 100% juice, because of the labeling laws, it doesn't have to be 100%. It can be 90-something%, and they could still put junk in there. So just read the labels and be careful that way.
It's concentrate, that's not a good thing.
Concentrate just means the water's been taken out of it either by dehydrating or boiling off the water. So it just means, like for orange juice concentrate, they take the orange juice or apple juice and they boil all the water off of it, so it's just really condensed, and then you just have to add the water back in.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
It's just been really processed. So if the less processing you can do, the better. But you know, if the ingredients say it's 100% and that's what you've got right then, you know, it's not going to be as good as fresh squeezed apple juice, but it's still a good option. So just be aware of how much processing has been done to your food. I guess that's. How do you like the sports drink? Decent, yeah. Okay. Okie doke. Next, I don't know if there's any. There's my pen. Any coffee drinkers in here? I love the smell of coffee. Don't like the taste, but I love the smell. For coffee drinkers, I made a really yummy latte recipe. And so even if you're not a coffee drinker, you might like this. We'll just give it a try. It's made with non-coffee. It's called Pero. I think another brand is Postum. You can get a whole bunch. All it's made up of is toasted grains. So they've got rye and barley and hickory root, and they just toast it. You can also make it out of dandelion root, which is actually therapeutic if you do it from dandelion root, and it has medicinal properties to it. So it kind of smells like coffee, kind of tastes like coffee, no caffeine, doesn't have any of the health hazards of that. So I'm just going to make us, just show you how to do this really easy here. So for 1 cup of coffee, just put in like a couple teaspoons of the powdered instant non-coffee. And I tested this on Brian, who is a coffee drinker. He's like, it's not coffee, but it's delicious. So that's the verdict. Not coffee, but it's delicious. We'll put a little bit of water in there. Make sure it's hot, and then I'm going to put a little tiny bit of honey in. Even if you're not a coffee drinker, you might like this. Now with vanilla, it's got alcohol in there to extract the vanilla flavor. So it helps if your water's hot and then you put the vanilla in, and what it does is it evaporates the alcohol off, and then you don't get that alcohol-like flavor that you would get if you just put it in cold water. Give that a little stir to dissolve the honey, and then of course we've got some nut milk here. And so I've been told, same ingredients as a latte, but it's not a latte. It's the mock one. And let's give it a little taste here. I like it. I think it's really good. So I'll let you guys taste it. Tell me what you think for a room full of non-coffee drinkers. But it might be, you know, it's kind of like a fun, warm beverage for when it's cold outside. Any questions about that?
So what did you use for the base, the non-coffee stuff?
It's called Pero. That's what I use, P-E-R-O. And I think it also, you can get it, it's called Postum. There's just a bunch of coffee alternative powdered beverages. You can find them at the health food store. So tell me what you think about that. I think you'll like it. And again, it's with the nut milk. And if you can find roasted dandelion root, has the same flavor. It's used as coffee, it's a coffee substitute in South America, and that is very high in iron, very high in minerals, very high in lots of other healthy properties, so you can get the same taste, and it's like drinking an herbal tea. I don't think this has any nutritional benefits, the Pero. So the nut milk does, the vanilla does, the honey does, but I don't think the Pero does. So if you want something that actually has nutritional benefits, you can get the roasted dandelion root, and I think you can get it at health food stores in a little tea bag, so you don't even have to do the powder, and you just make a tea out of it. All right, who's ever been addicted to soda? I know lots of people are. The average American, maybe not in this room, bravo for all of you. The average American drinks 50 gallons of soda a year. That's just crazy. Soda is just high fructose corn syrup, sugar, artificial color, artificial flavor, carbonation, lots of chemicals, and people that are trying to lose weight or get healthy and they're drinking any amount of soda, it'll thwart your efforts, no matter, even if you just drink a little bit of soda. Diet soda is actually worse for you than regular soda, than the artificial sweeteners in there. The advertisements say it's better for you if you're diabetic, or it's better for you if you're dieting. The artificial sweeteners actually make you gain weight in the long run more than sugar does. They actually contribute to diabetes, so they're not helping your diabetes out at all. And they cause many more problems than just plain sugar does. So switching to diet soda is actually making it worse than if you're just drinking regular soda, which is pretty bad in the first place. I know lots of kids, lots of adults love soda, so I tried to figure out some cool, healthy, nutrient-packed soda substitutes so you can still get that fizz in your mouth, you can still have the flavor, you can still have the cool beverage, but you're not getting any of the detrimental effects of soda. Now this recipe is really versatile. You can either make like a punch or a juice, lemonade cider sort of thing out of it. You can add a little bit of carbonated water. I use this, the Perrier, I don't know how you say it's French. This is naturally carbonated, so it actually comes out of the spring carbonated like this, which is different than pumping carbonation into it. Be careful though, when you're drinking anything that's carbonated, it's just pumping carbon dioxide in there, and carbon dioxide makes your body really acidic, and it also robs your body of its ability to absorb oxygen, because oxygen and carbon dioxide are competing with each other. So make sure that if you are drinking carbonated beverages, it's just on special occasions, and make sure there's, not the sugar and the junk in there. So we got the natural sparkling water. I got some unfiltered apple juice. It's in plastic, but I just did the best I could for today. So this is unfiltered, 100% apple juice, and you'll notice that it's got the sediment at the bottom and it's not clear. We're also going to use raspberries, which are very high in antioxidants, lots of minerals and vitamins. They're one of the best berries you can eat for anti-cancer properties. We're going to use some lemon juice and a little bit of ginger, and we're going to make a really yummy soda type thing. All right, please hold. Oh, you know what? Let's do it in the blender. How about that? Okay, so all you do is add some apple juice. Now, usually with lemonade, which is kind of what this is, you add sugar and water and lemons, and then the ratio is equal amounts of sugar to lemons, and then adding in water. So what we want to do is avoid all that sugar, and what we're going to use is the sweetness of the apples instead of using sugar, and that's going to sweeten our lemonade for us. We're also going to pour in some lemons that I've squeezed prior to this, and some raspberries. Now I find when people are drinking beverages, they like color. So if you just serve them lemonade, that's cool. But if you serve them pink lemonade or raspberry lemonade, that just ups the wow factor big time. And what makes it even better is the raspberries add lots of nutrients to it. So not only is it making it prettier, but it's making it way healthier for you. This is perfect for summer. See, and you can freeze this and make popsicles out of it, and it's great for kids, like these lemonade popsicles. You put them in those little popsicle makers. All right, raspberries, and I'm going to put a little bit of ginger in there. I like the flavor of ginger, but if you don't like the zing of ginger, you can just leave it out and leave it as a raspberry lemonade. Now the other thing I do with this recipe is I put probiotics in it and I make it into a fermented beverage. And when you put probiotics in it, it does the same thing as yogurt. So you've got all your probiotics in there and, okay, hang on. There we go. You've got all your probiotics in there, plus all your antioxidants from your fruit, plus the alkaline properties of the lemon, and so it just makes it a winning combination. If you're going to put probiotics in it, you just break a couple capsules into there, and I'll do this next class at my fermenting class. Break a couple probiotic capsules in there, and then just leave it on the counter for 2 or 3 days, and what that does is it builds up all that friendly bacteria, and it kind of carbonates it a little bit as the bacteria is growing. It makes it a little bit fizzy, and then after it's a little bit tart, a little bit fizzy, you put it in the fridge and it makes just a really yummy beverage. So you can use this for a punch, lemonade, or a soda, or a fermented beverage. I'm just going to blend this up so the raspberries and the ginger get mixed. Now there is some sediment in here, so you can just let it all kind of settle to the bottom and just pour it off the top, or you can put it through a strainer just to get like the raspberry seeds out and the little chunks of ginger. And I usually just kind of let it settle and all that heavy stuff falls to the bottom. So what I do is just give it a taste and see if it's sweet enough. That is so tasty, I'm going to just cry. It's so delicious. If it's not sweet enough for you, add a little bit more apple juice. That's your sweetness. If you like it a lot sweeter, you can add a couple pinches of stevia extract, and that gives you like no calories. It's not going to spike your insulin, and it's the best option if you just want it a little bit sweeter. Stevia, I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, I tried stevia and it just doesn't work. It tastes horrible. And the reason why is because they're trying to use stevia the same way they'd use sugar. So for a cup of sugar, I'm going to substitute a cup of stevia. That doesn't work. It makes it terrible. What stevia is really good for is enhancing sweetness. So if something is just pretty much as sweet as you want it, but you just want it a titch sweeter, but you don't want to put more sweetener in, you can put a little stevia and it enhances the sweetness. I wouldn't use it as a straight one-to-one substitute. What are they serving you now? What do you think?
Coffee.
Okay. What do you think?
It's all right.
For non-coffee drinkers?
That's good.
All right, so it's turning out kind of like a foamy kind of smoothie-ish type of thing. If you see how it's separating and all the foam's coming to the top and all the lemonade's going to the bottom. If you filter it, it will get you can just filter the foam off, filter the sediment off the bottom. So you can either have it kind of like a foamy smoothie or drink, or you can have it as a lemonade. Woo. So to have it as a lemonade, just leave it like that. If you want soda, add a little bit of sparkling water to it. Woo, that was close. You have a nice soda, and then if you want a fermented beverage, just add a few probiotic capsules and leave it out at room temperature for a day or two, and it will make a nice probiotic beverage for you. It's nice and fizzy. Okay, any questions about this one? That's like 4 recipes in one. That was pretty awesome, right? And again, we're using all whole foods. What are the rules? You got to use whole foods. It's got to be highly nutritious, nutrient dense, has to be delicious, has to be beautiful, it has to be easy and quick. It was all of those things. Makes drinking stuff fun. All right. Oh, I was going to show you guys, if you want soda type products, but you don't want to make them yourself, that was pretty easy, but if you just want to buy them, there's root beer. Virgil's root beer, and it's called diet root beer. Normally stay away from anything that says diet on it, but this is just sweetened with stevia, and that's why they're calling it diet. So it's got, it's really cool. It's made with lots of herbs and spices. So you've got anise, licorice, vanilla, cinnamon, clove, wintergreen, birch, nutmeg, and a bunch of other stuff in there. So it's made with herbs and spices, and it's sweetened with stevia. So if you want like a root beer alternative that doesn't have sugar in it. This is a great one that I found works well. Virgil's Diet Root Beer. And then this one, these are Izzy's. You can get these at Costco or at the health food store. I think you can even get them at Walmart. All it is 100% juice with carbonation in it. So there's no sugar, there's no additives or anything like that. It's just, again, I'll take you through reading the recipe. It's just 100% juice made from apples, white grapes, blackberries, raspberries, sparkling water, citric acid, and grape juice concentrate for color. So if you read the labels and you've got to have something bottled like for a party or a barbecue or something like that, there are options of just 100% juice or like the root beer. You guys can take a look at that later if you like. All right, next, who likes these things? Have you guys tried these before? They're like the green smoothies or the fruit smoothies. Now, they are healthier than soda. It is healthier than other choices you can make. They're not as healthy as you might think, though. First of all, they're bottled in plastic. Second of all, they're pasteurized, so even though they have lots of fruits and vegetables in there, so this one's got bananas, lemons, blackberries, blueberries, it's been pasteurized, so that kills all the antioxidants once it's been heated up like that. And it's been sitting on the shelf for a long time, which also destroys the nutrients. It's bottled in plastic. And so, although these are a better alternative than a lot of other things, it's simple to make it yourself, and it's going to be a lot healthier for you if you're just making these yourself. They have the green kind and the berry kind and carrot juice and stuff like that. So just making it yourself, not that much harder. And if you make it yourself, you have to drink it within 24 hours. But if you get like an insulated thermos and you put it in there cold, it'll last all day, and you can have your smoothie during the day. I will show you how to do this. Now we're gonna make 2 smoothies in one. I'll show you. Some people don't like green smoothies, but I highly recommend trying to acquire a taste for green smoothies. Getting at least a pound of green leafy vegetables into your diet every day is one of the best things you can do for your health and for weight loss and for antioxidant properties and for disease prevention. And most people say, well, how the heck am I supposed to get a pound of leafy greens into my diet every day? That's impossible. If you do green smoothies, you can get at least a half a pound of greens into one smoothie, and that's like half of it just in a smoothie. And sometimes it takes a little time to acquire a taste for it. So what I recommend is starting out with the smoothie recipe, which is just fruit, and it's delicious and everybody will like it. And this is for kids too. And then add in a little bit of greens. And then once you've acquired a taste for that, add in a little more and a little more, and soon your body will be begging for more greens. And when you make smoothies, your body will be asking for it, because what it does is it satisfies all those all the nutrition deficiencies that you've been having for so many years. And once you start getting the greens in and acquiring a taste for it, you'll find that your body will just keep asking for more, and you'll be able to have mostly greens and a little fruit instead of mostly fruit and a little greens, which when you're starting out with kids especially, you know, like with my daughter, I've got to put mostly fruit in there and the little greens and then work our way up. It works really well for kids that way too. I need some fruit. Hold on one sec. All right, so all I have here is a tropical fruit blend. So there's papayas, mangoes, pineapples, strawberries, a grape or two, I think. So you can use whatever you want as far as any kind of frozen or fresh fruit that you want. It just depends on what your taste is. And then I use 100% fruit juice, same thing, organic, bottled in glass if I can. And this makes the most amazing smoothie you can imagine. So delicious. So this will be the equivalent of the fruity one. You can make it with berries, you can make it with fruit. You can even make it with like fresh pineapple, fresh apples. You can put any kind. If you can use fresh fruit, it's better than using frozen fruit. Once you freeze fruit, about 50% of the antioxidants are destroyed with freezing. So using fresh fruit is a lot better. Do what you can with what you have though. All right, I'm gonna just blend this up. Now when I go to Jamba Juice, I love their Peach Perfection smoothie. Have you guys tried that? It's my fave. This tastes better. It really does. You're going to love it. So I want you to, I'm going to pour out half of this. Can you get me a little container? And then in the other half, I'm going to put the greens in there so you can taste both of them. I also make this, another combination that I love is blueberries and pears. So I get fresh pears, frozen blueberries, and that is very high. Like blueberries are one of the highest antioxidant berries you can have, and pears are really great for your digestion. So the blueberry pear combo is really good. Also, I love doing like a tropical one. So I put fresh pineapple, a little bit of coconut milk, and some ice in there, and that makes a really good tropical one. And all these recipes are in the book that's coming out. And then for all of those, make the fruity one. Thank you. And then if you can add greens, just add a little bit of greens at a time. Now you can add any kind of green you want. You can add romaine lettuce, which is a more neutral flavor. You can add spinach. You can add kale. You can add collards. Now kale and collards are going to be more bitter and not as pleasant of a taste. So I would recommend starting out with like romaine lettuce or spinach because those are going to be a more neutral flavor, and then use whatever kind of greens it works for you. So I'm going to give them the little bit of that kind and then add some greens. So for the greens, I'm going to add spinach because nobody had romaine when I was looking. I try to stay away from kale because for me, smoothies have to be delicious. If they're not delicious, I'm not going to drink them. So I use spinach or lettuce instead of collards or kale. I'm going to show you another recipe later where I do use kale, and the other ingredients I put in there kind of make up for the kale taste. Something else you can put in there is some spirulina, and what that is it's an algae. You can get it, I get it in capsules, I take it as a supplement, or you can get it just in a powder and put a teaspoon or something in there. Spirulina has a very high protein content. It's one of the highest vegetable forms of protein that you can get, and it's very usable by your body. So in a lot of my green drinks, I'll put some spirulina or some chlorella, which is another green powder that you can put in there. So you got to play around with it, and if you want a protein boost, I would recommend putting some spirulina in there. Spinach is 40% protein, so just putting spinach in there is like giving you a lot of protein as well. So I'll let you try this. Let me give it a little taste first before I pass it out to you guys. It's good. I think you guys are going to be surprised that something that green can taste that delicious. Okay. And then as much greens as you can put in there, the better. This is great for breakfast or snacks or summer treats. We use it for everything. My daughter begs for them in the summer, so in the summer that's pretty much all she eats is just smoothies galore. Now in the cookbook, I've taken all my favorite smoothies from Jamba Juice and all my favorite smoothies from the bottled ones, and I've made my own versions of the healthy versions. So pretty much any blended drink or smoothie drink that you love, there's going to be a recipe in there. So you'll have to tell me how you guys like those, okay? Okie doke, what's next? Is this the last one? Okay. You guys are going to love this. I brought my, huh? Okay, you like the orange one? Okay. And all that is just juice and fruit, and that's it. So it doesn't get much better than that. Now, if you want, for the smoothies, you can also put in some yogurt if you want some creaminess to it. Some coconut yogurt or some nut milk works really well. And yeah, just mix it up and be creative. I think the cool thing about smoothies is just whatever you like, you can throw it in the blender, nut milk, fruit, yogurt. And when I mean yogurt, I mean the homemade non-dairy kind of yogurt. And you pretty much can't ruin a smoothie. Just put in fruit and juice and it'll turn out good no matter what, generally speaking. All right, now fresh squeezed juices are another way. Green smoothies are one of the best ways to get all the pound of greens into your diet per day. And fresh squeezed juices are another way to do that. Just in one juice, you can get a whole pound of green vegetables into one juice without too much effort at all. And so, like for me, on the days that I drink a smoothie and a juice, I'm getting like over a pound of vegetables just by drinking a smoothie and a juice of leafy greens. So I don't even have to, you know, I'll probably eat salad too, but you know, if you don't feel like chewing salad all day, chewing a pound of salad, this is a great way to get your green vegetables in and also your other vegetables. Now, another juice, I'm making you a green juice today, but another juice you can try is like carrot juice. These are my two favorite juices that I make all the time. Carrot juice is, all I put in there is like 8 carrots and 2 apples and a chunk of ginger, like about this size, and a whole lemon. If you use organic lemons, you can juice the whole peel and everything. If it's not organic, I'd recommend peeling it because that's where all the pesticide residues are. But for the carrot juice, that's my fave. Just carrots, apples, ginger, and lemon, and it's so good. And I have that for breakfast all the time, and it just gets you going. Carrots detoxify your body. They also alkalize your body. The lemons are alkalizing. Apples have lots of insoluble fibers and soluble fibers in there that are going to help you with your digestion and your probiotic flora. So I can't give enough recommendations for juicing. If you don't have a juicer, you might want to check out Orson Gigi has a couple juicers that are really great. I like this juicer. It's because it's got a twin gear in there, so it's got two wheels that go like that, and it masticates the vegetables. And so what that does is it makes it so they're not oxidizing. Most vegetable juicers, they spin, so they like grate the vegetables and the fruits, and it spins, and it's like a centrifuge, and then the juice comes out. The disadvantage of that is all that oxygen that the juice is getting exposed to, it oxidizes the fruits and vegetables a lot faster. If you drink it right away, probably not a big deal. But this, because it's the masticating two blades that are crushing the fruit, they're not getting exposed to as much oxygen, so the juice will last a lot longer. So this juice will last like all day, whereas a centrifuge juicer will only last an hour or two. So just check out your juicer options and see what works best for you.
Is that when you do wheatgrass?
No. That's the one drawback for this one. It doesn't do wheatgrass at all. Jane, can you grab me, just a bowl to catch stuff in here with? Thank you. So with the juicer, as long as you're getting organic fruits and vegetables, you can use the peel, the seeds, everything. Like I take off the stems of the apples because those don't really have a lot of nutritional value in them. But the seeds and the peels have lots of nutrition in them, so I don't recommend peeling or coring your fruits and vegetables. With the lemon, as long as it's organic, you just cut it in quarters, and thank you, cut it in quarters, and then, or however big you need it to get through your juicer, and I just put the whole peel in there and the seeds. Most of the nutrition in fruits and vegetables is just right in the layer that's right between the peel and the fruit. And so anytime you peel a fruit or vegetable, you're usually getting rid of the most nutritious part of it that's right there in between the peel and the fruit. So anytime you can use the peeling, use it. Just be aware that if it's not organic, that's where all the pesticide residues is on the peel. So just keep that in mind as well. For the ginger, I do peel the ginger just because it's a root vegetable, and there's not, the taste of the peel kind of ruins it. And also, it's hard to find organic ginger, so I peel the ginger, and you just put it in there like that. Same with the cucumbers. If they're organic, you just cut them small enough so that they'll fit through the juicer. And leave the peel and the seeds and everything. So we're gonna do, Just kidding. There we go. Now there's there's programs where people that have cancer or diabetes or life-threatening chronic illness, they go to these medical clinics, and what they do is they put them on juice and raw food diets, and they actually are reversing their cancer, they're reversing their diabetes, they're reversing their chronic illness. And the way they do it in large is by getting so much nutrition out of their vegetable juices that their body starts to heal itself. It creates an environment where the body can heal itself of whatever the disease is. It's also very alkalizing, and cancer, viruses, bacteria cannot survive in an alkaline environment. So by drinking lots of fresh juices, especially fresh green juices, you're lowering your insulin resistance. You're also creating an alkaline environment for your body. You're adding super nutrition to your diet. So just in one juice, you're getting as much nutrition as most people get in a whole day. And they're drinking these juices all day long. So anytime you're trying to heal from something or cleanse, I recommend getting as many greens in your diet as you can by 3 methods: juicing, green smoothies, and salads. And that is the best way to cleanse and alkalize your body and get as much nutrients in one serving of food as you usually get in a whole day. Now you see, one of the complaints people have about juicers is that they're hard to clean up. So they make the juice and they're just like, ugh, cleaning this thing is a pain, and it takes a half hour. So as you're doing your research on which juicer to buy, I recommend reading reviews and seeing what people say about the cleanup value of the juicer. This one that I have, I love it. I've timed it like 3 minutes to clean it, so it's not that bad. Even 3 minutes though is too much time for most people. So just keep in mind that it does take a little extra work. Usually if I make juices in the morning, it takes me about a half hour, but I make enough juice for the whole day, and I just get a great big, either a quart bottle or the big 2-quart bottle, and I make enough juice for the whole day, and then I just keep it in the refrigerator in an airtight container, and then I'm drinking juice all throughout the day. So you only have to make it once, but you can benefit from it for the whole day. Any questions while I'm doing this? I just wanted to do this in front of you so you guys can see like the actual process of what it goes through to juice. Some people, they've never seen juicing happen before, so they have no idea what's involved or how much time it takes or how easy or hard it is. So I just wanted you to see how easy it can be. Now again, with the greens, I'm using kale here as my green of choice, but if you don't like the flavor of kale, you can use spinach or lettuce or any green thing that you like. Cucumber juice and celery juice are 2 of the best things you can do for alkalizing, cleansing, and nourishing your body. Celery juice is very high in sodium, not sodium chloride, which is salt, but sodium, which is a mineral, an electrolyte mineral. So the healing juices that they use in the cancer centers have a base of celery and cucumber and greens, and then they just use a little bit of apples to sweeten it up. Again, it's an acquired taste. If you've never drank green juice before, you might not like it at first, but it's a case of, you know, like after you start drinking it for a while, your body just starts craving it because it's got so much nutrients in there that your body's probably been dying for a long time.
Now with that pulp, do you make something with that?
You can. You can use it for like crackers. Like if you make dehydrated crackers, you use that, especially with the carrots. The carrots and the apples are good for that. The kale, I find, the texture and the flavor doesn't work super well for that. But yeah, the carrot pulp works well. The apple pulp works well, and just depending on your taste buds, you can use the rest of it. So what I do is I just get a dehydrated cracker recipe and just mix that in as part of the dehydrated cracker recipe.
Because that would be good.
Yeah. And if it's just the apples or sweet fruits, you can even put that in cereal, like the granola, and use it for that. All right, so I'm just going to give this a little taste here. Now, juice is all about taste balancing. Now, the foam kind of comes up to the top. I don't like the foam. It makes me gag, kind of, so we're just going to scoop that off. No gagging allowed. For the pulp that you don't want to put in crackers or whatever, it's really great for like pets. If you mix it in with their food, it's a great way to get them fiber and vegetables. Also, just make sure like dogs can't eat garlic and onions, obviously, and know what your pets can eat. But it's great to mix in with pet food, and it's great for compost as well.
It's so concentrated, you almost have to put in a little less because otherwise it's too much for the animals.
Yeah, and the pulp, it's just mostly the fiber. Okay, that's a little bit. It's a little bit too kale, so I'm just going to put in a little bit more apple. And I think this is valuable to watch just so you can see how to balance the taste. So for me, that juice would be perfect because I've acquired a taste for green juices. For you, it probably is going to be a little bit. Yeah. Anybody else want?
Yes.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Okay, so let's do this, and then I'll put a little bit more apple in, and you can taste both of them. How about that? Here. I just need the little thing back, so here.
Good idea.
All right, so there's straight up, and I find that the kale flavor, you can cut it really easy with lemon and lime. So if it's too much bite from the kale, add more lemon, add more lime, add more apples, add more ginger. And also cucumbers and celery really cut the kale flavor as well. So when I forgot my celery. I packed everything and the celery got left at home. But if you make the base out of celery and cucumbers, that makes a nice kind of neutral tasting base, and then it kind of covers up the flavor of the kale. So adding that with the apples really works well. So you guys can taste that, and then I'm just going to make it a little bit milder with a little bit more cucumber and a little bit more apple, and you can taste both of them. You can taste like the mild one and the high-powered one. Also, if you water it down, like if it kind of upsets your stomach at first, most people aren't used to having that concentration of nutrients in their stomach. So if it upsets your stomach a little bit, just water it down. Add some water. Start with it really dilute and then work your way up. And your body will have to kind of get used to having that much nutrition in there concentrated all at once. All right, so here's with a little more apple and cucumber. Now for me, when I'm making me a green juice, I use a whole head of kale, like a whole bunch of kale, and a cucumber, and like 3 or 4 pieces of celery, and an apple, and a big chunk of ginger. Like that's my green juice that I usually make. Another green juice that's really good is a cilantro lime green juice. And same thing, celery and cucumber base, and then you put a whole bunch of a package of cilantro and a few limes in there, and then kale, and that is also a really good way of getting your kale juice in there too. Totally cuts the flavor. Say that again.
If you want more substance.
Exactly. So basically green smoothie is this, but you're adding a lot of fiber into it. So for me, I have a health condition where I can't eat a lot of fiber. So I do a lot of juicing because I can't tolerate the fiber. But for other people, throwing all this into the blender and just making a smoothie out of it is actually a better option just because you're getting all the fiber in with it as well.
Yeah, it's good.
You like it? Cool. Wow, you guys like the potent stuff. Usually it's just me that likes that and everybody else is like, oh my gosh, how can you drink that? Okay, so then you guys can taste the sweeter one with the extra cucumbers and apples. And you know, if you're trying to get your kids to drink it, or a husband or somebody that's not into it, it helps to make it a little sweeter at first, and then again, build up the greens and lower the fruits. And yeah, like you said, any of these recipes can be used as smoothies as well. Okay, let's taste this baby. It's good. I like it. See how you guys like it. So it's just that, like if you have one green smoothie per day and one of those per day, you've got your pound of greens in easy because you've got a bunch of kale, half a pound of spinach, and you're good for your day with greens. So Leslie back here was telling me about an eye doctor that was talking about how if he could get his patients to eat that much greens per day, a lot of their, can you just explain what he said? Like,
Yeah, well, actually, he said the amount of green, he didn't think it was realistic to have a pound of greens, because boy, if that many people, or people to drink that much, it would make all the difference. I think he's a retina specialist, so.
yeah, so he was talking about how that would resolve a lot of people's eye problems if they were eating that many greens per day, but he just didn't think it was possible. But it's, you know, it's pretty realistic if you're just thinking a juice and a green smoothie per day. That's like not unreasonable. They're tasty, they're easy to make, they're quick. And you can, the cool thing about the smoothies and the juices is I make them in the morning, stick them in the fridge, and then you can just, you don't have to drink it all at the same time, but you can just drink it throughout the day. You can put it in an insulated thermos and then it keeps it cold all day. And you don't want it to get warm or stay out in the oxygen or it'll oxidize, but keep it in an airtight container and you're all set for the whole day. And then if you add a salad onto that, you're doing even better. Yeah.
In your last class, you were reminding us how to take all or freeze the ginger, grate it.
Yes.
And so then after I did that, then I had, you know, little pulps left. So I just put it in a jar and then I would take some of that and then I had ginger tea at night and just put some of that pulp.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because I thought, oh, well, now it felt like I was wasting that, but it makes great ginger tea.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that. That's a good idea. You can also just take the pulp and squeeze out the juice till it's dry, just like in your hand. And then all that's left is the fiber, and you've got the juice that works really well. And also with fresh lemons and fresh limes, I find that ginger, lemons, limes, those are the kind of things that are sitting in your refrigerator and you mean to use them, but then you don't use them. And then when you need them, they're all moldy at the bottom of the fridge. So with the ginger, thanks for reminding me about that. It helps to just cut your ginger into like little 1-inch sections and peel it, cut it into 1-inch sections, put it in your freezer in a Ziploc bag, and then when you need fresh ginger, you just pull it out of the freezer if you're not using it enough to keep it in your refrigerator. Same with lemons and limes. I just get like the whole bag of lemons and limes. I squeeze them all, put them in an ice cube tray, and then put the ice cubes in a Ziploc bag, and then you've got fresh lemon and lime juice on hand whenever you want it. Now at my house, I use lemons and limes and ginger fast enough that it doesn't matter, but for people that always have those things spoiling in the bottom of their fridge, that's a great way to preserve it and have fresh stuff on hand.
An ice cube was about
A half a lemon is, yeah, one ice cube is a half a lemon. All right, any questions? This has been a pretty fun class. Yeah, oh, we have yes?
You told us about the healthy teas. Can you tell us which teas to avoid?
I would recommend avoiding caffeinated teas. Caffeine stresses out your adrenals. It has lots of disadvantages for your health. So that's black tea, green tea, white tea. Of all the teas that are caffeinated, green tea has the most studies behind it as being beneficial for your health. So if you need a caffeinated tea, I'd recommend green tea. As far as herbal teas, I would just go with something organic. You have to read the label. If you want pre-packaged little tea bags, I would read the label and just make sure it's organic. I really like the Rooibos chai tea. I also like one called, let's see, I like the licorice teas because those are like naturally sweet. The licorice root gives it a natural sweetness. And it just depends if you like, you know, fruity teas. There's lots of options. If you just go to the health food store and look at the herbal tea section, there's tons of options. For therapeutic purposes, I would do raspberry leaf tea. That would be my number one. And then your mint teas like catnip and peppermint and spearmint tea. Also, you probably have this growing in your yard, but comfrey is a great herb to use. The FDA says it's toxic for your liver, so I just have to put that in there that there's warnings that it's toxic for your liver, but comfrey is the highest calcium content of almost any herb. So people that are trying to heal from broken bones and injuries and wounds, if they'll drink comfrey tea, you can't sell it in a health food store because of the FDA regulations, but that really, it used to be called bone knit, because that's like, they would break bones, stick it in a solution of comfrey tea, and then it would rebuild the bone back up. So people heal a lot faster with that. For detoxification, plantain tea, not the banana plantain, but the leaf plantain. That's great for pulling toxins out of your body and detoxifying any kind of poison. Let's see. Did you want to know medicinal ones or just nice tasting ones?
I was just looking for really what to avoid as far as like the blackening.
Okay, I just avoid anything with caffeine in it, and if you need caffeine, green tea. And so for the green tea, if it's been, for any teas, if they've been decaffeinated, be careful that they are not, but you want decaffeinated tea that's been decaffeinated with water, because otherwise they use solvents that are really toxic to get the caffeine out of the tea. So if you're drinking decaffeinated tea, make sure it's decaffeinated with water. I would stay away from any kind of caffeine at all and just use herbal teas. The caffeinated teas, not only do they have caffeine, so it's detrimental to your health, but they don't have all the nutrients in them that a lot of the herbal teas have. So that's what, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Probably more than what you were asking. Yes?
If we're looking for an insulated thermos,
Uh-huh.
are there ones made out of something that's better than others?
I would just get stainless steel, not plastic. So you can get the stainless steel insulated thermoses. Like those teapots I had were stainless steel insulated teapots. You can get them at the camping supply store. And I would just make sure that they're 100% stainless steel and not plastic. You can also get little soup thermoses, so you can make soup and keep that hot all day. Like when we go camping or hiking, I make smoothies and I just make sure they're really, like, I make them super thick so it's like ice cream, you can scoop it. I put it in the insulated thermos. I've got a really tall one that holds about a quart. And then we go hiking all day and you open it up and it's like eating ice cream out of the insulated thermos, and you can take it with you on hikes or to the beach or whatever. And it's great for smoothies and ice cream. Thank you so much for coming. I totally appreciate you spending your Saturday morning here. Thank you for taking an active step in improving your health and the health of your families. Please use your coupon, shop around at Orstengigi, tell them if you liked the class or not. And I appreciate feedback. We had a whole little talk before the class started today about, you know, recommendations. Oh, I wish you would do this, or I wish you would talk about this, or I wish you'd give us a flyer about this, or hey, I like this recipe, but it didn't work for me. So please give me that feedback. Anytime you give me feedback, I'll do whatever you say, because that's what you want. So thank you, bless you all for coming, and I'll see you next time.